Anyway, I thought I'd do a little video this morning.
I need to get up off the sofa and continue what I was doing. That's the trouble with network radio. You tend to have the radio on in the background and start doing bits and pieces and you're interesting conversations, and before you know it, the day's gone. Anyway, everybody, have a good day out there. 73s in our 004 clear.
Right, I just turn the volume down. Yeah, my name's Jeffrey, and this morning I'm going to do a video, network radio, friend or foe. And why would I call it a friend or foe? Well, I'm into amateur radio. I haven't done much. I got rid of my transceiver some months ago due to the high noise level that I get here. Some nights it's a 9+, and it makes it very difficult. Even on CW it's quite noisy, and that's what I do because I'm hard of hearing when it comes to shortwave due to the background noise. And anyway, I went along to my local radio club, and there was a gentleman down there. He had something, he said it was a radio tone RT3. He referred to it as a network radio, but it's more like, I suppose, a phone with a PTT. That's how I would explain it. And he was saying he was using this app called Zello. And I thought, okay, I went home and I put on the YouTube, and there was a video from a guy called Ringwood Manchester Lewis. And I started watching it. I thought, well, hang on, this is quite interesting. Maybe I might have a go. So I downloaded this thing called Zello. I had been working Echolink, so I've been doing Echolink anyway. And I have actually used that. And, oh dear. And I spent several days on there. Met quite a lot of people that used to be amateurs, but wanted to go back into it after finding network radio, believe it or not. There was a number of people came on that wanted to take their license and weren't sure how to do it for working UHF and VHF and D-Star and that. None of these people have been involved in radio before. So I would refer to this as more or less a tool of evangelism for amateur radio. And I dubbed Lewis, Ringwood Manchester, is the radio evangelist. Amen. So this was the first network device, network radio, network phone, call it what you will. There's been a little bit of a controversy, people calling it a radio. Oh, it's not a radio, it's a mobile phone with a PTT, and then some people say, well, it actually is a radio, it puts out a signal to a cellular mast, therefore that's a repeater, so it's a radio. And I mean, there's been a bit of classification confusion, but my personal view is it doesn't really matter. If you're making a conversation and you're talking to people and it's promoting amateur radio through, I would call it a form of digital evangelism, and as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a worthy thing to do. And I do it because I can't hear anything on shortwave here. I mean, I got a job to hear anything on medium or long wave here. It's just this continuous buzzing all the time. I don't know whether it's somebody's PLT or some kind of network device people are using, I don't really know. Or some kind of home hub, I don't know, or dish, I'm not really sure what it is. Anyway, this sort of switch goes click about 5:30 at night, and then you get this torrent of noise. When I put my bar graph on my computer, there's a line every 48 hertz, and the needle goes across sometimes to a 20+ or more. Obviously, I can't hear anything at all with that going. Then 2 in the morning, there's another click, and it goes off, and then it goes click about 9 o'clock in the morning. Then it goes off about lunchtime, then it goes click about 5. So, you know, you haven't got much time to use it. And it's going on 2 or 3 in the morning. Sometimes it's 24/7, this noise. and that's not including mobile phone chargers and everything else that gets used around here. So I reckon I got about 4 different noise sources, and they're all pretty awful. So I'm not sure what to do about it. So yet, it looks as though I'm going to get another amateur radio, and I'm going to try and see if I can get round that. If I can't, I'll sell it. And what I'm going to do is buy a QRP rig and go out and do some CW QRP work. I might get an 817, or I might go out and build one. I've been fancying building a UBITAX. They've got them in India, and you can now buy the case as well now. So, and it would cost total 120 quid for the board. The case is about 40. Well, I don't think I could buy the whole lot for about under £200. So, what could you get for that? And so that would be quite interesting way of building a portable setup. Certainly cheaper than the 817. So who knows? That may be some way forward for me to do some QRP work, perhaps out and away from housing and various other infrastructure. So what this unit is, it's very shallow. It's only about that deep. It's a bit front heavy, so if you do that, it tips on its bracket. You need to really screw it down. After all, it's got a bracket, it's made for a car. I've angled the bracket to tip that up, but because, as you see, there's no depth to it or any weight, it tips because it needs a lump. It really needed for the manufacturer a lump of lead in the back, so it was balanced, so it wasn't front heavy. That's the problem, it's front heavy. But if you keep the mic on the table and lean over and talk, it doesn't tip, and I mean, I tend to do that anyway. I tend to rest my arm on here and do that. It tends to be, and I tend to be use it. It seems to be though, as you say, you've only got to touch it. It tips. There's just no weight in the back, so it's getting a block of wood to screw it to. Somebody said screw it to your desk. Well, this is oak, and it's fairly good quality. I don't want to make holes in that. So, and I got this cloth on here. So, somebody said blue tack. Well, you stick it on here, it's going to do that, isn't it? With the blue, it's not going to be stable. So, a block of wood, I think, with some rubber feet on might work. Thinking of getting the T320 mobile one. I'm not sure yet. What I'm going to do is buy the Kenwood 850 I've been offered, and if I really can't resolve my noise issue, it's got the tuner, I'm getting the power supply with it. I reckon I could recap it and get a few hundred for that and something for the power unit, so I'd have some change really out of that, and I would be able to get the handheld one of these, and do some Echo Link on a handheld as well as doing that on here. The only fault with Echo Link on here, that on this, there's a fault with Echo Link between this. You turn it on and the volume is absolutely busting, and you can't turn the volume down, it's on full almost. The way to do it is to pair a Bluetooth speaker with it, and believe it or not, that actually cures the problem. It uses a different circuit than on here. On here it uses Bluetooth, and I found using my Bluetooth speaker means I can control the volume. So if you're doing Echo Link, I suggest you do it from home and get a little Bluetooth speaker that you can put somewhere, and that will solve that issue. The other issue was that when you select, I'll show you. Oops, I've done it wrong. The screen is small, so it does cause an issue whether you press the right thing or not. And sometimes it doesn't want to switch off. I don't know why, but sometimes it doesn't, like it does now. I've got a job to turn it off. I found using the pen is the best way. Yeah, there it is, it's done it now. Switches it off. You've got to hit that little button, and it's very tiny. So one way of using it is one of these keyboards, but don't leave that dongle plugged in on Echolink because it causes a buzz on the system. And what you do, you just press this and you select Echolink, and I'll show you what happens if you don't set it up properly. It will connect to the server now on Echolink. It'll take a little while to load up the station list. There you are, and it's on Echo Test, and I'll show you something. Key the microphone, and Zello starts up. Now the reason that happens is because Zello is always in standby mode, even if you exit it. What you have to do is to turn it off, and as you notice, you're back into Echolink. What you need to do is to go quit the application. Yes. You have to tap it quite hard, I don't know what. That's why I prefer to use the keyboard. And what you do is you go into settings. Come on, go into settings. And you'll go up to apps. This is how to make Echolink work. Apps. And you go down to Zello. Oh. No. Back again. Something isn't right here. I don't know why that's not working. Perhaps it doesn't work on that, I don't remember. No, it doesn't. You go up to Zello. You press that. And it says forced stop, not uninstall. Press that, and it says, do you want to stop the app? Yes, okay. That now switches off Zello. You go back to your home screen, and you select Echolink again, and it will load up Echolink. When you key up on Echolink, it won't start Zello. You have to force stop it. It's a fault with the software that it doesn't fully disconnect. The other fault with this is that it is very loud. Now, if I show you, the volume is still on quarter. It's still high. You can't turn it down anymore. So if I was to do an echo test, hang on, make sure I got it on. Connect to echo test. I'm going
to the Echolink test server. This server records your transmission.
Oh, it seems to be better.
Back to help you adjust.
It was so loud the other day, it was really painful.
Please feel free to connect as often as you like.
See, that is about the minimum volume. You won't get it down anymore. So this has been a problem that some people have had. I got Bluetooth selected. Having Bluetooth selected somehow has made the speaker inside a bit quieter by having the Bluetooth ticked. So tick the Bluetooth even if you're not using a Bluetooth speaker, and it will make it easier. And I'm going to do a test now. This is the microphone on the microphone. Mexico 0 Papa Romeo Foxtrot. Testing Echolink 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1.
Mexico 0 Papa Romeo Foxtrot. Testing Echolink 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1.
See, it's working perfectly fine. The volume is comfortable. It's not over the top. I'm deaf anyway, so I do need a bit more sound. And just by selecting that Bluetooth, even though it's not using a Bluetooth speaker, it actually made a difference to the volume. It actually made it quieter. Before, the whole case would rattle. It's still a bit loud, but it's comfortable actually. It would be actually the volume I'd have it set. And it will work perfectly fine on Echolink. And on here I've got a server repeater, 2E0 EVPR, and there's quite another other repeaters that you can do. So that's one way of getting into it, and it's certainly a good thing. The other thing is the microphone button is quite stiff, so if you're like me and you've got arthritis in your hands, I tend to press things harder than I need to as well, because I think it's going to unkey. But anyway, that's network radio or network device or whatever you want to call it. You can map the buttons to do certain things. You can fit in SIM cards. You can put extra memory in there. The other way to do it, if you want to do, you can use one of these. That's how I started doing it. This is an 8-inch Lenovo Tab 4. The only thing you have to be careful of is the hole for the microphone sound is, believe it or not, on the bottom corner. So you're continuously covering the damn microphone over with your hand all the time. It's very difficult. They put it on the case, which means you're always covering it or touching those buttons when you're holding it. It's just not a very good way of doing it. It'll work, but you really need to put it down and use it. Otherwise you're going to be touching things on the side and messing around with it. You can also use your PC. But it sounds a lot better and it's a lot easier to use on this. But just remember the two things, particularly with Echolink. When you go into Echolink, set Bluetooth on. Even if you haven't got a Bluetooth speaker, it will make the volume a lot less harsh. Don't know why, but it does. Also, when you go out of Zello, go to the app and press the app that says Zello, and it says forced off. You press the forced off, it will shut down Zello. Go to your back key, start up Echolink, and Echolink will work fine. Also, you may need to go into Echolink, you probably will, and press PTT button on the top where it says that, comes out of the menu, add PTT button, press that, and it should add this. And it may ask you to press this so it recognises that. I think that's what you have to do. So you can use Echolink quite successfully, and I've been using it. And there's a number of other things you can use on there, like TeamSpeak, and there was something else, I believe. I did try running Hamsphere on there, but the screen was so small, it was absolutely impossible for me to use it. Everything was all squashed up, you couldn't see the numbers, you couldn't access any of the buttons, it was too small. So that was a disaster. I did try it, and it did actually work, the buttons, but it was, you just couldn't read anything. Everything was all on top of each other, you couldn't do it. It didn't work very well at all. But I mean, I did try. So that's an introduction to network devices, net phone, network radio, network PTT device, call it what you want to. Friend or foe of amateur radio? Well, I don't think it's a foe. It could jolly well be a friend, and I think it might end up being that. And it seems that once people get over the initial thing, it's not radio, because it isn't, it's not real radio, it's not putting a signal to a repeater other than a phone mast. But it behaves like a radio. So I would say it was friend. Most definitely a very good friend. But some people may think it's a threat. I personally don't see it as one, but some people do. But when you've got people in old folks' homes, or people like me, in semi-sheltered accommodation, because I'm disabled anyway, who can't put up an aerial, who are getting a lot of interference because they're living in a terrace, a lot of other people living here, then this is most definitely a way to keep you in the hobby. The other thing is, if you're an elderly amateur, and you want to go on the radio, but you're in sheltered accommodation, you might even be in a retirement home. This is great because you can set this up with a SIM card. You don't even need a hotspot. You can use a SIM card, a data SIM. It'll cost you peanuts to run it. And I think this is definitely going to be a very good tool to keep older people and disabled people in the hobby who just can't do that anymore. It will also help people with not very much money, people that don't have a lot of money, because this unit is about 130 odd pounds. You can talk to the world on this, on Echolink, TeamSpeak and Zello. So if you haven't got enough money to buy a HF rig, you could use a 2 metre or 70 cents radio and supplement it with this. There's no reason that you could not do that. And I think it's going to have definitely its place in the amateur radio world as a complement to it, but certainly not a replacement for it. So, and I would say certainly not a threat. I've heard a lot of people on Zello wanting to take their license. They've never ever considered doing it before. There's a number of people who have decided, I want my license back. I took my license 30 years ago. How do I get it back? There's people not been active for 20, 30 years who want to get back their license. So it's most definitely a friend, and makes a cheerful tune. And it also is a cheerful tune on the old purse, because you don't have to spend a lot of money to get into it. So I think it's most definitely worth a look. So before people judge network radio, network devices, network phones, give it a try. If you don't like it, you can always pass it on. Or you can stuff it on the magic eBay and give it a whole flog with a horse whip. Anyway, 73s, my name is Jeffrey. Mexico Zero Papa Romeo Foxtrot. On network radio channels is NR0963, and very often known by my own funny name, Zippy, because I can't stop talking. And I haven't been on Rainbow this week. I think Jeffrey's passed away. That's my name as well, Jeffrey. So I always say it's Jeffrey along with Bungle and Zippy, and most people then know straight away which Jeffrey it is. So thank you, and please enjoy this VID-DAYO, and have a good time, everyone. And don't judge a book by its cover. Give it a try. If you don't like it, you can always put it under your wheels of your car. And if you do like it, and people are a bit hostile, you don't have to tell people what you're doing. You don't tell people what colour underwear you're wearing, or what vest. So you don't need to tell people that you're cheating and using a network device to DX on. So, shh, mum's the word. Anyway, bye bye everyone, and have a good time.